Yeah, well, basically because I hadn't had much game time. So.
Okay, good on you. Something you're going to be really interested in after the break, it's got something to do with umpires and interpretation, forwards and backmen.
I look forward to it.
Next, amazing scenes in New York where a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We'll go live to New York shortly.
Get ready to
Rumba is Day's live on stage.
Nelly Furtado,
Shaggy,
Human Nature,
Jerry Halliwell,
Mandy Moore,
Emma Bunton,
special guest Craig David.
and still more, making Rumba one of the world's great concerts.
Fox FM and Packard Bell present
Rumba.
Saturday, November 17, Colonial Stadium. Tickets on sale this Friday from Ticketmaster 7.
We moved to Caroline Springs for a lot of reasons, but mainly because of the water.
And that's the reason why we built in Spring Lake Village, because it's right on the lake.
The houses here are all different. They've all got their own individual style.
Caroline Springs. See for yourself, because it speaks for itself.
The things I like the most are the gardens. Delphin are definitely doing what they said they would do with the planting and the maintaining.
Dolphin.
What kind of bed is just right for you? A true luxury mattress? Or the luxury of an electric bed or latex bed? Will you choose a back care bed endorsed by the Chiropractors Association? A bed designed especially for kids? Or a bed treated to help control asthma triggers? Whatever the bed, there are good reasons to choose Snooze. So if you need a new mattress, you know where to go to feel comfortable.
Another reason to choose Snooze.
Remember East Timor? Anastasia does. The militia destroyed her home, forced her family to West Timor. Her husband is now dead. Caritas Australia is helping to reconstruct East Timor, but there's so much more to be done. Give urgently to rebuild the homes and lives of thousands like Anastasia. Please call Caritas Australia on 1800 024 413.
The sensational new YRV from Daihatsu. From just $17,990 with a stack of standard features that make YRV knockout value. Who could possibly bring you this much car from just $17,990? Daihatsu, that's who.
Can I help you there?
Thanks.
Did you ever look at seek.com.au?
That's how I got the job.
Is it?
Yeah.
What happened?
I just applied for it over the net and ta-da.
Seek, and you shall find.
Nick, you would have been in this situation so often this year. I mean, how do you adjudicate it? Do you think the umpires know what to look for? I mean, how can you pay a free kick when both players are hanging on like they are here?
Yeah, I think it's just important that the umpires maintain the sort of balance. They don't pay it to the backs, 99% of the time, and then, 1% the forwards get it. It's important that they sort of keep the balance. If they see that there is hanging on, both hanging on, don't worry about it. But if there is a back hanging onto a forward or vice versa, make sure that they pay it sort of 50-50, but it seems to be in favour of the backs a lot of the time.
That spoken like a good forward. That looked play on, both of them, didn't they?
I would have thought so, because it was hard to distinguish who was holding who started it. Got a feeling, Nick, that through the finals, you're going to have to get it over there with an axe to get a free kick. I reckon that's how tough it'll be. I reckon the umpires, unless they are absolutely certain it's a free kick, they'll just let it go. If they're going to make a mistake, it'll be that they don't make a decision. They'll just call play on.
Yeah, it seems to be the way, especially when the big crowd's involved and they're influencing decisions and things like that, that the umpires are more sort of keen to sort of let the play go, especially if it's going to change a game, if it's a close game.
Do you sometimes feel that David Parkin's coaching you?
No, not at all. No.
Has that the tension between those two men that once came out earlier this year with him and Schwabby ever imploded on the team?
Now, my opinion was that there's storm in a teacup there. There wasn't any tension at all. Swabby and Parko have been friends for over 20 years. Parko was Swabby's teacher at school. Now, he's been instrumental in our games against Carlton and sort of helps out and chats to sort of some of the players, but he's definitely not coaching. It's all Swabby.
Nick, you've won on points, I reckon, over Caro tonight. I reckon you've just beaten her. Not many big men have been able to do that this year. Good luck for the rest of the final series. Catch your Caro and Wolsey. We're going to leave, as we'd have to leave tonight, with a bloke who gave us so much pleasure over the years, Darren Jarman.
This program brought to you by KFC's Chicken Caesar Sandwich. The perfect Caesar sandwich.
Wednesday.
Rock hit the windscreen.
When a child's prank turns to disaster.
Up here, she said.
One of the healers will be left hanging by a thread.
Stay back, or we'll both go through.
All new Blue Healers, Wednesday. With Natalie Barr, this is 7 News.
Good evening. New York is in the grip of a disaster tonight. 2 planes have crashed into the top of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center and terrorists are believed to be responsible. One of the planes is believed to have been an American Airlines Boeing 767. It's believed to have been hijacked, and there are also reports of an explosion at the Pentagon. We'll cross live now to NBC.
Earlier this morning for an event on literacy. He was going to a school to talk with kids. David, what can you tell us?
A little bit more about how all of this unfolded and what the president is going to do next. The president declared this an apparent terrorist act. He offered a prayer for the families, promised to hunt down, in his words, the people responsible for this. He will now travel back to Washington, and aides are telling us now that he will immediately convene a national security meeting to see what steps are taken next.
David, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're looking at live pictures of the Pentagon where there is billowing smoke. Jim Miklashevsky just reported that he heard an explosion, and right now we're looking at an aerial view of the Pentagon. Mick, can you talk to us?
Officially, nobody knows exactly what happened. I think the picture is pretty clear. According to one U.S. Army officer who went running past me at a full trot, he said that it appears that a bomb was detonated at the heliport. The heliport is a helicopter landing area right next to the Pentagon, just adjacent to the E-ring. The offices nearest the heliport area are U.S. Army, Reserve officers, and the Army Reserve our offices are located there. But as you can see, it appears to be a pretty significant blast. To give you some perspective, we are almost on the opposite side of the building, the world's largest office building. And as I reported to you, we could feel the building shake and the windows rattle. And as I was in the hallway just a few moments ago, I could smell an acrid kind of smoke, the kind of almost what you'd smell when a fluorescent light goes bad, that kind of ballast smell. And authorities are clearing the building. I don't know if you can hear the sirens outside right now, but it appears that in what I think people here in the building are already describing as a highly sophisticated, coordinated attack, not only against the World Trade Center, but against the Pentagon and U.S. military right here in Washington.
Tell me again, I worked at the Pentagon as well, and it is a huge building. I mean, it's miles and miles of offices. At what location did this seem to have detonated? It's at the heliport. The heliport, which is as you sit in the Pentagon, you have the Potomac River and Washington, D.C. on one side, and the heliport is located almost exactly on the opposite side of the building, along one of the highways, easily accessible, even though that they've increased security here significantly at the Pentagon within the past couple of years. That area... I want to mention to you, Mick, that we are hearing, again, unconfirmed reports that this was the result of a plane crashing in the area as well. I have no idea, Katie. All I know is that of people who were in the building who came running from that part of the building thought it was a bomb of some kind. According to Chris Brown, my colleague who just came in, it appears that whatever it was, and perhaps it was a plane, Katie, if those are the initial reports, crashed into, or the damage is on the roof of the building at the heliport side of the Pentagon, which is just opposite of the Potomac River, as I just said. We're looking at the White House, Mick, because we are learning that there have been some evacuations from the White House. I'm assuming that everyone is being evacuated from the Pentagon? Well, nobody's given us the official word yet, but I think that's probably a safe bet. Thank goodness that was a helicopter that just flew by. I'm just a little nervous right now when you hear aircraft go past. But they have, in fact, evacuated that portion of the building. Usually they have sirens that go off in the building alerting you to the fact that it's time to get out. I haven't heard those yet, but just judging by the pictures, it's clear that that part of the building that is not damaged, at least, has been evacuated. Like I said, in the hallway, it was pandemonium. People were rushing from their offices, rushing outside. And you're in your office at the Pentagon right now, Mick, reporting to us? I am in the office, but I'm at the opposite side of where this crash occurred. All right, why don't you see if you can gather some more information. Please, again, be careful, Mick, and we're going to go to Matt, who's going to be talking with Jamie Gangel.
All right, yeah, Katie, thank you very much. I'm joined by Tom Brokaw, and we'll try and recap what's been going on all morning here on the East Coast and in Washington, D.C. in just a few moments. But we do want to go right now to NBC's or today's national correspondent, Jamie Gangel, with some more information. Jamie?
Just repeating, a number of large planes have crashed into the side of the World Trade Center in what looks like a serious terrorism attack. And we're also hearing there has been a blast at the Pentagon, and the White House is being evacuated right now. Joining us now from New York is Ch7 reporter Mike Amor. Mike, what can you see from where you are in New York?
Natalie, I can see the World Trade Center now, and it's well and truly on fire. Smoke is billowing from both buildings. It's a clear sky here, and basically smoke is filling the sky over Manhattan. They've closed the island. We were actually way to the airport when the two planes crashed into the top of the World Trade Center. The feeling we've got emergency vehicles passing us, our taxi at every minute. It seems people here are just stunned. A taxi driver was in fact moved to tears by what had happened. I think this is just an amazing situation.
Now, we can still see the smoke obviously billowing out of there. There are reports it's about 80 floors up of on the 110 floor towers. One plane was smashed into the northern tower, I believe, and the next plane came about 18 minutes after that. There are reports that both planes actually slowed down and lined up. There we can see one of them, that was, I believe, the second plane crashing through, that they actually lined up and aimed straight for the buildings.
It's just, it's hard to understand how that can happen, isn't it? We've had reports just listening to the radio on the taxi on the way in that an American Airlines passenger jet, a 767 from Boston, was hijacked and its pilot forced to fly directly into one of the towers. Not sure whether that was the second or the first plane. It's just staggering that this has happened. Our taxi driver is saying this is another Pearl Harbor.
Now, Mike, we are now getting reports there has been a large explosion at the Pentagon, and that could possibly have been caused by a third plane.
We have to say this is a deliberate attack by somebody, and this has been orchestrated. This is no accident. We've heard President Bush on the radio already saying this is a terrorist attack. We're going to put all our energy into finding who's done this, and we're going to punish them and punish them heavily. So there can be no doubt that this is a terrorist attack. This can't be an accident.
OK, thank you very much, Mike Amor in New York. We'll now cross live back to NBC.
By the way, the U.S. Capitol has been evacuated. There have been evacuations taking place at the White House. Needless to say, many people in the Pentagon have left that building as well.
And here, by the way, in this building in Midtown New York, they have asked a lot of people at 30 Rockefeller Plaza to leave. It's another high-rise Capitol building, which is... in New York, I came down the length of Manhattan, and a lot of people were simply unaware of what had happened. As you tuned in the radio, and then they began to get it. It's election day here in New York.
Primary day.
And what we have is something that most Americans thought could never occur.
As Larry Johnson, a terrorist expert, I did